did a really great job of getting your employees to be advocates for what you were doing as well, right?
Well, a lot of that was the brand refresh and really helping people to understand our target audiences and know exactly who we're for and all kind of sing from the same songbook from a brand development standpoint. And our True to Atlanta mantra also came from that as well. We wanted to really show transparency and authenticity in who we are and what we did as an organization. And the part about the comments, like so much of it was at the time from previous ownership that was really disconnected from the business and the city, you know, day to day, which was even more interesting contextually. But most people don't think of those things. It doesn't matter. You're an official for the team, so
right. And it doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, it's somebody said it. Atlanta Hawks takes responsibility for it as a whole, right? So it's kind of that's the good and bad of that. Tell me a little bit about how did you get other people to really want to? How did the word of mouth really take off for you? Do you think?
About the brand or the organization?
About the brand and the organization, because now you have some like crazy fans, right? I mean, you really have.
We've definitely grown our fan base, and I think a lot of it is this passion for the brand, but we gave people something to care about.
Right.
And I think at the time, there was so much apathy around the brand and the organization. We hadn't really embraced our past.
Right.
And so that year, you know, after everything happened, we honored Dominique Wilkins, who is like one of the most well-known Hawks in history, and gave him a statue in front of our building. And we really began kind of going into the community and just really being transparent and having conversations. And at the same time, we wanted, in creating the brand for next generation Atlantans, we had to go where they are.
Right.
And so doing fun and unique things like Swipe Right Night, which is Tinder dating night, and, you know, working with different artists and coming up with our Sprite hip-hop concert series that we had. We're still a concert series that we're running, was really important because we needed to connect with the audience. And I think in the past we were really trying to be all things to all people. And so I really think that when you ring the bell consistently, people can really start understanding what you are and who you're for. I mean, I was driving around the city this weekend, and I saw so many people wearing Hawks retail. Funny enough, I just won this 40 Under 40 award last week for our local Atlanta Business Chronicle.
Awesome, good for you.
One of the other gentlemen who were also named one of the 40 Under 40, we had to give advice to our 18-year-old selves.
Oh, cool.
Like, he was like, you know, guess what? It'll be cool to be a Hawks fan again. With his advice with 18-year-old self. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
This genuine feeling of like, wow, the Hawks are cool again. And I don't think it's one single thing. It's definitely a combination of elements, but then also, well, us as an organization really making sure that we're marketing our marketing. And talking about the things that we're doing, because previously I don't think we did such a great job of that.
What advice might you give an entrepreneur who is looking at creating their own brand or creating signature campaigns around what they do? What would your advice be for them looking at messaging or how to create campaigns people will remember and talk about?
One is use the F word. We call that focus internally. Really focus on your target audience, and so many times it's easy for people to start relating things to themselves or what they think would be great, but as much as you can relate things to your target and really build it for your target audience, I think that is hugely helpful, because I've seen so often things can easily swing. And doing that, you create that filter that allows you to know when something is or isn't on brand or good for your business. One of the biggest things, and it's funny because our CEO is very passionate about this, and he does it all the time. It's like, when you're coming up with these ideas, write the press release.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Line and write the press release, because in doing that, you're like, okay, what's going to be catchy? What's going to get buzz? What would get pickup? And if you really kind of keep the release in mind and almost speak in headlines, it's so helpful, because we're like, we can do it and be like, oh, that's not really doing too much for us. Like, wow, or we can add this or add that, you know. And
I love it,
like,
love it.
You know, build it like cheese pizza. Keep it simple.
Build it like cheese pizza. I love it. Yeah.
So everything is just like, Get a cheese pizza. Don't overcomplicate it.
Build it like cheese pizza. Don't overcomplicate it. I love it. Have you stayed true to who you thought your original target audience was when you first started out, or have you changed?
1,000%. We have not deviated from day one, which is why I think it's such a tremendous brand story, because we built the strategy after doing a ton of research, and to this day, we stand by it.
You took an interesting approach with B2B, right? In focusing in on that, which had never been really a huge focus for you guys in the past.
Right. I mean, we've always, from a ticket sales standpoint, in a certain way, but as we look at, we just announced that we are going to be doing renovations to our arena, and a big part of that is developing more premium spaces for, for businesses, as well as fans, obviously, but, places where you can entertain and really kind of show the client a good time.
Yeah, and I want to get back to really quickly what we just talked about. You really haven't deviated from day one, and I love the fact that you said that's what makes it such a great brand story. I was just on the phone with the CMO of MasterCard, and this is where I think your story and his story really are similar in a sense about marketing campaigns, because when you're able to take a campaign and stick with it for a little while, I think you're able to get better results. But I
agree. You have higher recall. I mean, right. I think for us, we changed messaging so often as an organization that it didn't necessarily stick, because we were always kind of chasing the next thing. True Atlanta has been our, brand for the last 2 seasons, and we're going into our third.
Right. And I think what's interesting about that, and similar to like the Priceless campaign, right? They didn't drop that. They just evolved it. Now it's Priceless Experiences, but they didn't throw away what has worked for them for almost 17 years now. And I think brands too often don't follow through with the concept.
Or they feel like, maybe they're not getting results as quickly as they would hope, and it must be the messaging or must be the brand, so they need to shift.
Right.
And it's funny, because in working in television, we would run promos. For a while I worked at TNT, and we said, drama, and everyone was like, oh man, we keep saying the same thing, maybe it's time to do a brand refresh. And I'm like, you work here, you see it every day, all day. No consumer sees it at the frequency that we do.
Yeah. And
so when you can take yourself out of your work hat and really put on a consumer hat, a lot of times people can't disassociate the two. And so as soon as you start getting tired of it, other people are just starting to get it.
Yeah, as soon as you start, oh my gosh, that's so good. As soon as you start getting tired of it, consumers starting to get it.
So
yeah,
you
exactly.
gotta hang in there a little bit longer, or a lot longer sometimes.